One-room schoolhouses were common in the United States from the 19th century through the first quarter of the 20th century. The schools housed students from grades 1 through 8 and only had one teacher to handle all of the instruction. By the early 1970s, the one-room school had all but disappeared and was replaced by more consolidated schools that relied on motorized buses to transport students to school. Let's listen to Sandy Osborne from the Museum of the Grand Prairie as she gives us a look into these schools of the past.
Hello, and welcome to our one-room schoolhouse at the Museum of the Grand Prairie in Mahomet. Around 100 to 150 years ago, when your great-grandparents and people like Abraham Lincoln and his friends were young, most children went to a one-room schoolhouse. And that's exactly what it means. The whole entire school was just one small room, which means there was no gymnasium or cafeteria, no music or art room, of course no computer room, and no bathrooms. Which meant when it was time to go, you had to walk outside to the outhouse, which made our current-day porta-pots look fancy. And since there was only one classroom, all the grades 1 through 8 were in that same small room. Eventually, there were around 200 one-room schoolhouses in Champaign County, which meant that most children did not have farther than about 1 mile to walk to school. Now, some of the things that we found in the schoolhouse were desks like these. There was a small hole which held a bottle of ink, and when your teacher wanted you to, you could take your quill pen, dip it in, write a little bit, dip it in and write. It was very messy. But most of the time, you would have written on a slate board, which we now call a chalkboard. So you would take a piece of chalk, and I could do my ABCs or my 1, 2, 3s on there. And when I was finished, I would wipe the slate clean, and it was ready to use again. And I wasted 0 paper. Eventually, children had textbooks called McGuffey readers. These were written approximately in 1879. Here I have the first reader, the second reader. There was a primer that was simpler, and there was through the sixth reader. There were also spelling readers and arithmetic readers. Inside the books, we would find how to write, and writing neatly was much more important back then than it is today. There were lovely stories to read in between with nice black and white pictures to look at. You could read stories about manners, meaning how to be kind and polite to people. You could read history and nature stories, and eventually even some literature stories. And at the very back of the book, there were several pages of phonics that would tell you how to pronounce the vowels correctly and blends like TH and SH. And of course, there was no electricity, which meant that all of our light comes in through the sun in the windows. So on hot, sunny days, it would be brighter and warmer than on the cooler, cloudy days. Now, some of the things that were the same about the schoolhouses was the most important, of course, why we go to school, which is to learn. Back in the one-room schoolhouses, there was a teacher. You have a teacher. Children had a recess, playing some similar and some different games than you do. Of course, they had lunch, but always cold lunch because there was never a hot lunch choice.
This is a plat book or plat map of Piatt County from 1910, during the same time period as the one-room schoolhouse. Plat books are atlases that show land ownership for rural areas. They generally feature one township per page and focus on rural property ownership. 19th century county plat books, sometimes called county histories, often included family biographies, portraits, and illustrations of homes and prized livestock. Sandy explained that there were about 200 one-room schoolhouses in Champaign County alone, but Monticello and Allerton Public Library are in Piatt County, and within Piatt County there are 8 townships. Well, in those 8 townships, Piatt County had some schoolhouses of its own. Allerton Public Library has a collection of historical photographs, and numerous photographs from the early 20th century show students and one-room schools in 5 of the townships in Piatt County. These are Blue Ridge, Goose Creek, Monticello, Bement, and Cerro Gordo. There were probably more one-room schools than these, and all 8 townships probably had their own one-room schools, but there are no photographs at the library for those other schools. Now we can see that there were probably more than a single one-room school for each county and even each town. So, as Sandy mentioned, children could walk to school. Let's find out what else she has to show us during this exploration of the one-room schoolhouse.
Hello, and welcome back to our one-room schoolhouse at the Museum of the Grand Prairie in Mahomet. Today we're going to make a copybook. Now that's what you would make if your teacher wanted you to do some schoolwork that you had to keep, so you wouldn't want to use it on a slate board that you would just erase and reuse. Here's the supplies you need. You need 2 pieces of paper. You need a pair of scissors. You need a pencil. And you need a shoelace or some kind of similar string. First, we're going to fold one piece of paper with the 2 short edges together like this. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to carefully match my corners right there and right there. I'm going to hold it and then do a nice straightening job with the crease. I'm doing the same thing with the second page. I fold a short edge to a short edge. I carefully match my corners, hold the end, and make a nice crease. Now put your 2 papers together, one inside the other, and do not ever take them apart. Lay the folded side facing away from you, and the open edges opening facing towards me. Take your pencil. In your other hand, put your finger in the center of the fold and leave it there for a while. Between your finger and one corner, you're going to draw a teeny tiny half a circle, like that. Keeping my finger there. Between my finger and this corner, I'm going to do the same thing. A teeny tiny half circle like that. There we go. It looks like that. Now I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut out those little circles. Don't worry if your circles are a mess, it's fine. Like so. I will open them up, keeping my papers together with the peak going up towards the sky. Take your string, hold one end in your hand, put it down through one of the holes, pull it towards the outside, inside, put it down through the second hole, pull it up, and sort of even out your strings. Now we're going to tie a knot, which is the first half of tying a shoe 2 times. Go over and under. I use a finger to hold the end, the knot, and I go through it again. And voila, we are done. Great job. Now take the string end and put it by your left hand. Pick up your pencil And you're going to write my copybook on the front, like this. My copybook. And you are going to put it here. My copybook. And down here you might want to put your name so it doesn't get mixed up with your brothers and sisters. Later we will do some activities in it. Well, enjoy your copybook. Thank you for joining us at our one-room schoolhouse again. Hello. Welcome to the one-room schoolhouse again at the Museum of the Grand Prairie in Mahomet. We're going to do some activities in our copybook that we made. When you take your copybook and you open it this way, these are the two pages we're going to use, which is the back of the front and this page. So this is the first half of the page. In the top half, I'm going to give you 3 words to write. Dog, tree, ran. Now, if you know how, write one complete sentence, including these 3 words, right down here under the words. On the bottom of the page, we're going to do some arithmetic. Write your numbers 1 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put 4 simple math problems on the board. Copy them down and see if you can find the answers. 1 plus 3, 12 minus 7, 8 plus 6, 9 minus 0. On this page, we're going to do some creative artwork. I would like you to draw 2 circles, any size, any place, on here. I will show you an example. 1, 2. Do not draw my circles, but go ahead and draw yours. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are done. Now we're going to draw 2 straight lines. Any length, anywhere, any direction. 1, 2. Draw yours, but don't draw mine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are done. Now you're going to create a beautiful artwork on this half of the page. And your 2 circles and your 2 lines will be part of your picture. You can draw springtime, butterfly. You can just draw a design that's not a picture of any kind. Now we have used these 2 papers, but you still have many pages left to go before you recycle your copybook. A few other suggestions. One of my favorites is a Venn diagram, where you will draw 2 circles with a little bit overlapping, and you will put old schoolhouse in part of it, and new school, and then in the center, you'll have things that are the same. You can also ask someone to give you some spelling words that you know. You could write a story to share with your family. And I'm sure you can come up with a lot more activities to do to finish your book. Thank you for joining us at the One Room Schoolhouse at the museum. We are currently closed, but you can still visit us virtually on our website and come see us when we open again. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in exploring a bit of history and the one-room schoolhouse.